Hi, my name is Caitlin. I'm going to be giving a brief presentation about Britney Spears today. Just kind of taking a look at her and her life and applying some of the theories that we learned in class to her life. This is for our Psych 453 class, and I do apologize, I don't have a projector. I tried as hard as I could, but I couldn't get a hold of one. So my presentation will be separate from my PowerPoint today. If you want, you can click through my PowerPoint. It is attached to my discussion board so that way you can follow along with what I'm saying. I will let you know when the appropriate times to change the slides will be as I go. So if you want to just flip that open, I will jump straight in and give you a quick summary about Britney and her life and everything she's been through and all the different theories that I thought might apply to her. So the first slide, a short biography, if you want to flip to that one, I'll start with it. Britney began her career in acting in 1993 with the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. She was about 11 years old at this time, and she stayed with the show until 94 whenever it got canceled. After this, she stayed with Disney for a little while, acted on a few of their different TV shows until she moved on to pop music in the 2000s. This was what really started her career and got her in the spotlight, was her pop career. She was a very controversial subject at the time. She was very sexual for her age. She continued to sing, but she also made some bad decisions regarding drugs, alcohol, and during this time she got married and had 2 boys. She continued to make bad decisions with her parenting and also with her marriage as well. These bad decisions continued until about 2009. As we all know, Britney kind of had a little psychological break there for a while where she shaved her head and went berserk. She ended up locking herself in her house with her 2 children to protect them from her ex-husband, stuff like that. And this lasted, like I said, until 2009. In 2009, she kind of got back on her feet after a few rehab stunts and came out with a new album and a new tour to get herself back on track. Today, she continues to sing, and she also hosts in a few different television shows if you've seen her on there. She's not as large as she used to be when she was younger, but she is getting back on the right track with all of that good stuff again. So the first theory that I decided to kind of talk about Britney with was a Freudian look at her. She, as we all know, was very sexual for her time, and I thought Freud would be a very good starting point to discuss her and her psychological break. So because she was such a sexual image, I thought Freud would have a heyday viewing her and viewing everything about her. I thought that if he were to go ahead and do an analysis of her, he would determine that she leads her life with her libido. She, as we all know, that's your sexual tendencies, as you will find in Personality by Berger. She was one of the top sex symbols during the 2000s. If you want to switch to the first Freudian slide, it's called A Freudian Look at Spears. It's the next one after the biography of her. She was one of the top sex symbols for the 2000s. Everybody kind of questioned everything that she was deciding to do. She was something of a modern-day Miley Cyrus back then. And she repeatedly brought herself into the spotlight with very sexual acts, such as kissing Madonna on stage, doing a pretty much naked performance with a snake wrapped around her, and then creating a few different types of songs with some kind of questionable titles. Most of her public appearances were definitely kind of created to over-sexualize herself and let everybody know how sexy she really was. So this is kind of why I made the determination that Freud would determine that she leads her life with her libido. On top of leading her life with her libido, if you want to switch to the next Freudian slide, it's A Freudian Look at Spears, but it's the second one. On top of leading her life with her libido, I think that Freud would also determine that she was kind of lacking in ego and superego. I determined this because during her psychological break, she acted very childish. She did what she wanted without questioning her consequences or anything like that. She acted very erratically. She began to break under pressure. I think she led with her ID, which your ID is when you kind of do what you want and don't really question what's going to happen with it. Your ego blocks your ID, and then your superego blocks your ego and your ID. So I think that she was lacking in her ego and superego and kind of just living her life by what her ID wanted. As I stated, she barricaded herself in her house with her children as kind of an example, and she